Welcome to the Sports Show. Mike, Max, Patrick Gracie, Eric Nelson, the one and only Sid Hartman. Sydney, how are you tonight?
Pardon me?
How are you?
I'm pretty good.
You're pretty good because the Gophers did what they did on Saturday. Now, I'm not kidding you. Last week, when I talked to Jerry Kill, I could see the fear in him of playing Iowa. He was convinced this was as good a team as there was in the Big Ten going in.
Well, he made a lot of changes last week. He's a psychological major last week.
Take a drink of this.
He had to take...
Go ahead. There you go. Go ahead.
Changed everything he did last week. Less time practicing, not screaming and yell at the kids. He thought he had to do everything to bring him back, and I don't think he had any idea that
nobody had any idea the game was going to go like that.
The result of that game was going to be what it was. But it turns out Northwestern's not very good, but the Gophers did play well. I thought they did a great coaching job. They used that little May. They used number 5, the second-team quarterback. They did a lot of things. I think they won the coaching battle in that game without a doubt.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, Patrick.
I thought they went back to last year's Nebraska game plan. Remember last year, the game plan? They broke out Donovan Jones to run that little jet sweep there. They widened out Nebraska and then gouged them up the middle. And we haven't seen much of that this year. But supposedly, from what I heard, Iowa's defense was tough in the middle, but really soft and slow on the outside. And Lime Grover went back to that jet sweep that sucked in Nebraska last year, and they stretched out Iowa with that jet sweep and just gouged them. It was it was unbelievable.
And they got a guy named Max.
Yeah.
And that catch that he made on the sidelines is as good a catch I've ever seen in college football, I think.
Yeah, it was incredible. And the toe tap the kid had. I mean, the presence of mind to get the foot down and get the reception, and then the touchdown in the back of the end zone. I mean, this guy's going to play on Sundays. He's got an NFL build already. You can see it. And today's NFL tight ends run down the seam free.
Oh, yeah, I tried to Spielman with him, but he can't talk about him because he's a sophomore. He can only smile when you brought him up. But, Patrick, that review is the darndest thing. So many times you think you see something, and when they put it in the slow-mo, you realize. Like he got his foot in there. All those calls that get reviewed, I can't believe how many of them are different than what I think.
I saw him as a high school quarterback battling Phil Nelson, big, tough kid, and you could just see he was a football player. And, of course, his daddy was a football player. But I do believe that if he wants to leave after next year, he will be drafted.
That ticket is punched.
That family is something. Ron Getz, his uncle, a great linebacker here. His aunt, a great women's athlete at the university. His father might be the best center that the Giants ever had after playing with the Gophers. So he won't leave. He's a great kid. I've got to know him pretty well. I knew him when he was young. He just, all his life, he dreamed of playing for the Gophers. Mason told me today that was the best tight end catch he's ever seen. So that's quite a compliment for that kid.
So what do you think now? They play Ohio State this week. The way I figured is if they win 1 out of 3, it's a really good season. If they win anything more than that, it's unbelievable.
Like Mason talked about Ohio State. They lost at home to Virginia Tech. Penn State had them beat. They went in overtime. But last Saturday night...
one of the best defenses in the country, beat Michigan State, and they tore it apart.
That quarterback is something, boy. When he starts scrambling, nobody catches him.
He's a big, strong kid. He's a big, strong kid, much more accurate passer. He doesn't run as fast as Braxton Miller, but he's a much more accurate passer. And let's face it, they now look at themselves and say, we can go to the, we can be a playoff team. If they run the table, they'll be a playoff team.
They're 7 in one poll, 8 in another. So they jumped from like the 15 last week all the way to 7 and 8. So they're legit. and the Gophers are going to have to play even better than they did against Iowa. But the Gophers, I've already seen a projection. They're going to play in Jacksonville, January 2nd, the TaxSlayer.com Bowl.
I've lost track.
That's the new projection.
That's the Gator Bowl.
Was the Gator Bowl? I want to be on a bowl committee. Let me tell you why. The group was up here from the Fiesta Bowl, the committee. So I said, are you guys looking at these teams? And they said, well, we really don't have anything to say about them anymore. They tell us who's going to play. I said, what are you guys doing up here then? We just came up here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but they got a budget. They got a budget, so they go play. They wear stupid blazers.
Exactly.
They
I
go
want to be on
ugly
a committee.
blazers and go. Well, the Fiesta Bowl, was the one that got in all the trouble because they were having a good old time.
Going to Jacksonville.
That's CBS.
That's
the CBS Bowl projection.
But it all depends on. I mean, if you lose all three, then you're in trouble.
They're not ranked though this week.
Iowa though. I picked the Gophers to win, certainly not like this, but just because, Iowa beat Northwestern, whoop-de-doo. Northwestern's in a collapse, and Iowa got drilled by Maryland. They lost at home to Iowa State, which is 2-7.
Right.
They damn near lost to Ball State. I know they've had a couple of good games, but I don't think they're much of a football team. Gophers were, the score was outrageous, but the Gophers are 2 touchdowns and they're better than they are on a neutral court.
I didn't think that.
The one thing Ohio State defensively is not that great. They've given up a lot of touchdowns. Penn State scored on them. Virginia Tech scored on them.
Well, let's put it this way. It's going to be interesting at least.
And, hey, the last time we played Ohio State at TCF Bank, we beat them. Unfortunately, that was a hockey game, but we did beat them the last time.
Take a break, come back.
24-1.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. And Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing.
Quality. It's the result of shared values. The joy found in an honest day's work. Respect for true American craftsmanship and the need, not the want, to get things right. It's the result of remembering your roots, being forever humbled by how far you've traveled and forever hungry to push on further. Quality is a result. Quality is who we are. Cambria. Family owned, American made.
You're watching CW-23.
Cause you and I back together again.
The best part of being apart is getting back together. Your true love is back. The McRib.
With tender pork, sauce, and more sauce, the one and only McRib is back at McDonald's for a limited time. Get yours today for only $2.99.
A003 license renewal.
Best deals of the year on the Ram truck. It's never been easier for you to go that extra mile. And there's comfort in knowing she's got what it takes to go even farther. Hurry in to the Ram Big Finish event. Well-qualified current pickup truck owners get a low-mileage lease on Ram 1500 Express Quad Cab 4x4 for $279 a month.
See why more people are coming to Audi than ever before at Audi Minneapolis. Experience the legendary performance and handling of an A4 2.0 T Quattro. Lease yours for only $379 a month. Plus, Audi Minneapolis will make your first month's payment. Or try out the luxury and power of an A6. Lease for just $499 a month. The Summer of Audi event at Audi Minneapolis on 394 at General Mills Boulevard and at AudiMinneapolis.com.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines, that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs?
Fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second-to-none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
Celebrate the holiday season at J.D. Hoyt's. Take that someone special out for a special meal. Say hi to Pat and the gang. Perfect time to celebrate at J.D. Hoyt's. Welcome back to the sports show. City, the Minnesota Vikings are off this week, but it's a different feel with this team because they're coming off a win going to play Chicago.
Well, the way Chicago playing, they getting killed by Green Bay. Vereen
Ben Vereen, who plays for Chicago from the Minnesota
Brock
Gophers.
Vereen, Ben Vereen's
Not Ben Vereen. I'm sorry. Say it every time.
He was in town last week, and we sat and talked. He says, at one time, every one of the secondary guys was out, the regulars.
Yeah.
They got more injuries, and I feel for Mark Trestman. They just got a lot of problems down there, and I still don't think the Vikings are going to beat them in Chicago, so they very seldom win a game in Chicago.
Might have a new running back by then, though.
Last week at this time, we talked about that the word was out that he might cut a plea deal, Adrian Peterson.
He did.
He did. Now it's kind of behind him, but the NFL, and I talked to the folks, the Vikings, they got no idea what Goodell's going to do.
The NFL's kind of screwing around, waiting on it. Probably checking with their sponsors. Checking with their sponsors, probably.
Yeah. Budweiser?
I don't know.
Speed dial to St. Louis?
He'll play. I'm just not. Well, one thing is they're going to try to get some of his money back. You know that. Yeah. They're going to try to get 6 weeks of his money back and give him a 6-week suspension for the domestic abuse. But I think you got to let him play, don't you?
I do.
Want him so bad.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. They're not worried about the reaction of the crowd. They're not worried about the sponsors. They're not worried about anything. One reason they want to put him in the lineup is they want to see how he can play, so whether they should re-sign him for next year.
Re-sign him? They got him signed.
Keep him. And the other thing is, and I agree with you, if you just said in the beginning he was going to sit out 8 games, that was his suspension, I think we'd all be okay with that. He's missed 8 games.
This is the best thing that could happen to the Vikings, Patrick, that Roger Goodell screws around with this thing from a public relations standpoint, so the fans start to get mad at him and not the Vikings organization. So whenever he decides and everybody's happy, he comes back.
I think everybody's pretty well satisfied that he's served his time, and they're going to end up, as I said, stealing his money. That's for sure. But, yeah, I guess Goodell, I don't know what the NFL's motive here is, not to move more rapidly with it. You would have thought with a bye week it would have been perfect time. The trouble with them is they were all preoccupied with the Ray Rice hearing last week.
And one of the people the
He'll
Vikings
be back
told
for
me
the Green Bay game.
That he realizes his legacy, meaning Goodell, is hanging in the balance as to what decisions he makes here, so he's taking this very seriously.
He is, but I think it's proof that Goodell has really never had a blueprint all along. In the beginning, he was this tough cop, and now he's backpedaled and been this easygoing guy that's letting things slide. And now he's trying to change. Yeah, he makes $44 million a year himself.
Goodell, just the opposite of what you guys think. He really don't want to bring him back for the simple reason he thinks he's going to be criticized regardless what he does with it. He don't want to bring him back.
That's what we were just talking
about.
But
I think the players...
Otherwise, he'd have made the decision by now.
The Players Association is now putting some pressure on him to bring Peterson back, and they'll make some kind of a deal. you bring Peterson back, and we'll do this or that or something like that.
By the way, I see that I was reading about Kurt Busch, you know, NASCAR driver, domestic abuse. He's got a custody fight with his wife, and I looked down in the bottom, and his lawyer commenting was, Rusty Harder.
Is that right?
Rusty's everywhere. Rusty is everywhere.
Do you think the Vikings have to look at this as a run at the playoffs, no matter if Peterson's back or not, Eric?
I think they got a shot. There's 7 games left. The NFC is pretty wide open, but Detroit's the team I think you got to be concerned with, and Green Bay is very good. I mean, Detroit's won 4 in a row. They have a knack now for winning games in the final minute. I think there's a lot of growth in Detroit.
Bad things happened to them today, though. Dallas won.
Yep.
And the Detroit won, and Green Bay's going to win. So
Arizona and Detroit play next week.
You might have to win more than 10 to get in the playoffs.
Good or bad
they're not going to win more than 10.
Might go to Carson Palmer, huh? He signed a $30 million extension that tore his ACL today.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, nothing's guaranteed in the National Football League.
They're 8-1.
But how about next week? Arizona and Detroit, 8-1 versus 7-2. Did you have that on your calendar for being a major game in September?
I figured Detroit would be Detroit, but I thought Arizona would be better.
Yeah. Who do you think's the best team in the NFL, Sid?
I think that Stafford did a fantastic job today, marching that team down the field to beat a pretty good Miami team. San Diego has been real tough for people to beat, and Miami beat San Diego 37-0, and Detroit beat that Miami team today. I'm not sure the Vikings can beat Detroit here or there.
Well, they already lost here.
Green Bay, they won't beat.
I'm sure they can't beat them here because they already lost.
Pardon me?
I'm sure they can't beat Detroit here because they already lost to them here.
Okay, but I'm just saying Detroit is a pretty good team. So
their defense is good.
Otherwise, the schedule's not that tough.
Okay.
Stafford, how about the Jets are back, though? Don't count the Jets.
Yarvin, 3 catches for 23
Don't
yards.
scratch out, don't mark that down as a win now that the Jets are hot.
December 7th coming to town, yep. Take a break, come back.
Ever wonder, why do I hear but not understand? Scientists at Cambridge University discovered the answer. Inside your cochlea, there are thousands of tiny hearing hair cells. Poor hearing occurs when regions of these hair cells die. Amplifying a dead region with hearing aids makes you hear worse, not better. The result of this study is a hearing clarity breakthrough. Using standard test equipment, dead regions of your cochlea are identified. Then, a new type of frequency-shaping hearing aid is programmed to bypass the dead regions. Only your usable hearing hair cells receive amplification. Brilliant. A local study is underway. 100 citizens with hearing problems are needed to receive this testing and then wear the tiny device for 10 days, recording your results. Call now to see if you qualify. Volunteers may keep the product at a special discount if they desire. Don't miss this opportunity. Call now.
Thanks for watching CW-23.
In a world full of compromise, the Audi A3 takes a different path. Get uncompromised design, the style and presence of Audi in a lighter, smaller form. Uncompromised performance, a lightning-quick turbocharged engine, and race-bred S-tronic transmission. Uncompromised luxury with standard leather seating and panoramic sunroof. Lease your A3 for only $299 a month. Plus, during the Summer of Audi event, Audi Minneapolis will make your first payment. Stay uncompromised. Audi Minneapolis.
Stop on by Audi Minneapolis, 394 on General Mills Boulevard. Here comes the storm. Don't worry about it. Get behind a Q5 or a Q7, and you'll ride the style all winter, even with that storm coming tonight. Welcome back to the sports show.
You know what I hate about storms today in this era? When they tell you one's coming, there is. They used to be wrong. They used to be wrong about half the time, but their radar and everything's so good now they know they're not lying to you.
There ain't no Armistice storm anymore, is what you're saying, right?
But when they say it's coming, it's going to be here. Yeah.
The Minnesota Timberwolves, last week we talked about should they assign Ricky Rubio like Carson Palmer. Now today you go, ooh, they're in trouble on this road trip.
Oh, yeah, well, he did. Maybe it's 2 best back-to-back games he's had. 29 assists in 2 games, and they say 2 months with this ankle. He just ripped the hell out of it.
Let me say this. Ed Flip's done a fantastic job picking players. Those 2 draft choices a year ago, that Muhammad and that Deeg are pretty good players.
Hang tight here. We don't know if these guys are big-time players or not.
at this point, they've done a Deke is a good player.
He's all right.
And we
don't know if Wiggins and Levine can play yet either.
Wait a second. So far this season, the Chicago game, they should have won the game. The guy walked. There's no doubt about it. The Orlando game, they don't have Ricky Rubio. If they have him, they win that game. They played pretty good. I think they got some great athletes on that team. It's going to take some time, but I think he's done a fantastic job.
I think they're going to be good enough to lose in an interesting fashion for a while until they get depressed. But, of course, not having Rubio for 2 months, you're going to be absolutely buried because they don't have another point guard. So the big idea of getting rid of J.J. Barea for nothing, you wish you had him now.
Yeah,
well,
you
yeah.
give him 30 minutes a night right now.
Yeah, how do you project injuries? I think the guy I want to see now is Zach LaVine. He's going to get a lot more minutes.
I don't know
you're going to have
too many minutes.
Well, you get two 19-year-olds being major factors. Yeah, that's the thing. You may as well take your lumps now. But I think the upside's high for this team.
I think that's been their slogan for 10 years.
Really 25 years.
What were you going to say?
I think Saunders has done a great job. I think they got
games. Who
good,
knows?
good athletes.
6
They're
games.
2-4 through 6 games.
6 games. I can
2
do
and
the
4.
math, Ed. 82 in the
they played the Heat the second half even.
Let me explain something.
Without Rubio.
The Heat toyed with them until the Heat decided they had to finish it, and then they finished it.
6% of the schedule, Sid. We don't know.
But you got to look at the bright side.
Doing a good job or a bad job. 6% of the schedule.
The Wolves have as many wins as
I
Cleveland.
can have my opinion.
Well, sure
Kevin Love doesn't have any more wins in Cleveland than he would here.
If I get a word in, it'll be a miracle.
Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, how do you explain their slow start?
You know all the answers.
Cleveland Cavaliers. How do you explain their slow start with LeBron James and Kevin Love?
It probably takes a while for them to get together. But the last I looked, Mr. Love was averaging 17.8 and 12 rebounds a game. But it takes time. The Heat, when they first got James and they got those guys, they got off to a slow start too. So it takes a while to get together.
I think Kyrie Irving was working out with Chris Humphries this summer. He had a stretch where he took 37 shots since his previous assist. He had, in other words, he had an assist, and then he took 37 shots before he had another assist. And LeBron didn't like that too well.
LeBron aired him out.
That's hard to do.
Yes, it
when
is.
you got Love and James.
When you're a point guard.
Well, and LeBron's direct quote was, "That was a good game scoring-wise." And then he took it up with him in the locker room.
Sid?
How about the Wild? What's happened to them?
We've still got some others we got to talk about. Let's talk about the Twins.
The Twins,
Paul Molitor was made official this week, the manager. Now we're worried about the coaching staff.
Bernansky, I think, was a good move. I'm pretty sure they're going to bring that Gwynn, is that his name? The Rochester manager? Glenn. He's going to be one of the coaches. I wouldn't be surprised if Mauer's brother is one of the coaches.
How about Dale Svein, his old teammate, as a bench coach?
Who?
Dale Svein.
Maybe, I don't know.
Or, you know what you need? And the rumor today is Guardado could be their bullpen coach. You got 12 or 13 pitchers these days. You need 2 pitching coaches. You need a pitching coach, and then you need an assistant pitching coach. More than half your roster is pitching.
Wasn't that Cuellar and Anderson?
Well, maybe, I don't know. But that's what Eddie should, if he's a bullpen coach, he should have him coach the bullpen and let the other guy coach the starters. That's what I'd do.
Yeah, it is a big part of the game, that pitching. Take a break, come back, stay with us.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go? I'd go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I'd go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, Christian Ponder, the Wild, Zach Parise, the Timberwolves, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins. Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too. Justin Bieber! Hey, I like him first. For details, go to ticketkingonline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the
said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
You're watching CW-23.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. There it is, Beacon Bank. Bob Weiss and the gang, responsive, reliable, reassuring. Do some business banking with them. You bet. You got goals and dreams and maybe an entrepreneurial something that you're thinking about. Call Beacon Bank today. They can help you get you there. The Minnesota Wild, like the Timberwolves, lost a key player, Zach Parise, and then they go and they lose a couple straight in the row.
So that was 4 in a row? Or
3 in a row.
3 in a row. Well, it shows you how important Parise is to that team. But how many games were on the road? They lost on the road to Montreal.
3 at home and then 2 on the road.
Yeah, another one at New Jersey Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't going to win all their games, so they got off to a great start.
There's the scoop of the night.
I know why you come to this show.
They get
the
a lot
hockey guys had them in the Stanley Cup after the 3rd game. So.
They get a lot of shots, but they don't put them past the goaltenders. Now, Maxie, I want to bring something else up. Can I bring something else up?
Yeah.
I was out at Hutchinson Wednesday.
Yeah.
And, they got a great football team. But that's your country,
I grew up in Gaylord, but I got
boy.
family
In
living
fact,
in
I
Hutchinson.
ran into your dad.
Yeah.
But that little circle there, Becker's still alive.
Yep.
St. Mike's is still alive.
Really good.
Bold is still alive. Glencoe, which
Still
is right
alive.
down the road, is still alive.
They won in
and
last play
who
of the
else?
game
There's
last night.
6.
New London Spice.
New London's still
Spice is
alive.
still
There's
alive.
6 of them within about an hour each other that are still
Well,
alive.
I went and watched Hutchinson play Friday night against Holy Angels, and they won 45-14 or something, and it wasn't even near their best performance. They weren't even hitting on their cylinders.
I guess when they punt, it's like a state, it's a
News.
citywide tragedy.
Everybody looks and they go,
Lower the flags.
It's funny because in the stands they go, it's like 4th down and 3. We've never been 4th down before. They're just having one of those years. Eden Prairie goes. Let me tell you something. Rick Spielman's the general manager of the Vikings.
Yeah.
His kid put on a show the other night. J.D. Spielman.
80 yards, 50-yard touchdowns.
Wait till you see him play defense.
He's just a junior. I and Mike ran on the show today. He said he's one of the best players they ever coached. The kid plays both ways.
He never took him off the field the other night.
Never took him off the field, and he's a junior.
Where's he going to school?
Ohio State.
Well, he's a junior, so he can play lacrosse or football, and he's got to decide what he wants
His
to play.
brother Ronnie's at Ohio State, right? Playing lacrosse, yeah.
But this kid can play football, too, if he wants.
This kid's a great athlete, and I think Mike Grant's going to win the state championship again. I can't see anybody.
Not one of his great teams, but Rosemont getting beat helped them.
Rosemont got beat, which everybody thought had a chance. They lost their quarterback on the 3rd play or whatever.
Erdman, yeah.
But Eden Prairie also, when they get to the tournaments now, like Spielman doesn't come
That
off
great
the field.
quarterback.
They play all their good players, too, instead of
The
toying
great
with you.
quarterback is going to Oregon. He didn't put on much of a show the other night.
They had 14-0, and they gave up 35 straight for Eastridge.
After that, he did nothing.
I'm not. You know what? I'm missing the dome, though. I like the dome for the state semis and finals.
How much are they going to like it when there's 10 inches of snow on the ground, too?
Get the snow blowers out. The difference is now everybody gets to play on turf at least.
But these semifinal games are scattered. You used to have the semis at the Metrodome and then the championship as well. So you're going to have to look at the map and figure out where you want to go this week.
Yeah, fun time of the year.
Yeah.
Sid, some final thoughts.
Final thoughts, Gophers and Ohio State, if they don't sell that game out, I give up.
Is it 11 a.m.?
Iowa comes to town.
I don't know.
They can't sell Iowa, Minnesota out.
We got to get a 2:30 start this time, don't we? It's got to be.
No, 11 o'clock.
It is
Again?
11 for sure.
What the hell?
Wow.
See you back here next.
This is for a championship.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quart surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. And Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing.